Alright, it's Mr. Canada here today, and we're going to look at multiplication for inequalities and solving them. So what I mean by this is when we have a number next to our variable, and then some number on the other side. So we want to isolate x on its own side. So our strategy here is very simple. We're going to divide both sides by the coefficient attached to the variable. Keep in mind our coefficient, if we look at the very top to our title, our coefficient is this a value next to our variable. Okay, so looking in on this, let's write this. So we have 2x is greater than 4, and we want to solve for x. So the reason that we divide both sides by our coefficient is that we know any number over itself is simply 1, right? So most times in school you'll be taught that, well, if we have 2 over 2, we can just cancel one out for the other, right? Because they cancel each other out. It's actually that it's just saying we have 2 parts of 2 wholes, right? So if we have 2 parts of 2 wholes, that's really like saying we have 1 part of 1 whole. But that's really like just saying 1. So we just want to ignore them. However, I'm just going to take this back. Instead of crossing them out, I want to leave them like numbers. Instead of writing it with a divide by 2 there, let's keep the same way that we were solving our addition. So we're going to divide by 2. And because I'm doing it to my left side, well, if you remember, I said that we're going to continue doing that same process. We're dividing on the right side. And notice how I'm doing the exact same, working downwards, right? So I could really write an equal sign and right below, like I've been doing, just to keep the same convention. So you can notice that when we get to harder problems, we're still working downwards. So what does that do? 2x over 2? Well, that just leaves us with x, and we're greater than 4 divided by 2 is 2. Example 2 then. Let's look at something a little bit different. We have 3x is less than 12. So I always just like rewriting the questions. I don't know why. Helps me see the question better when it's not written or typed, I should say. So here, what number are we going to divide by? Well, our coefficient is 3, and we know that 3 over 3 is 1. So I would go with the reasoning that 3 over 3 is 1, 2 over 2 is 1, 4 over 4 is 1, rather than remembering that divided by the coefficient. 1 is what we're doing, 1 is the reason why. So here, now we can state our equal sign. You do not actually have to do the equal sign because it's all for your benefit. Whatever makes your life easy with maths, do it, as long as you can show your work through the process. So 12 divided by 3 is 4. And lastly, we're going to solve the inequality 10x is greater than negative 5. So here, same thing. We have 10x is bigger than or greater than negative 5. We want to divide by 10. Divide by 10. So here we can find that x, once it catches up, x, right, 10 over 10 will be 1, so we're just going to have x, and then we have, well, we have 5 divided by 10, which is, we can simplify that as 1 over 2, right? 5 goes into itself once, 5 goes into 10 twice. And then, well, a negative divided by a positive is a negative, right? So it's a negative number divided by a positive, right? Or if we had one of each sign, or I mean, 2 negatives, that would cancel each other out, right? Because a negative over a negative would just be like saying 1 over 1, or flower over flower, or star over star. Everything over itself is 1. So I always like showing people star divided by star equals 1. Therefore, negative divided by negative equals 1, right? So just think of that when you're trying to work with your signs as well. So let's get some practice. Here are 5 questions as standard. Pause the video whenever you're ready to proceed, or if you're stuck, press play. Okay, so let's look at this, and let's look at this first one. So this first one, we're going to divide by 3, so we divide by 3 over here. Let's just work our way down so we can kind of see what we're doing for each problem. Second one, well, we're going to divide by 8 because there's an 8 up top. So on the right side, we divide by 8. I'm not even looking at the other number right now and thinking about it at all. I'm just looking at that, what number is next to my x. I have to divide by 2, so I have to divide by 2. Here I have to divide by 6. Here I have to divide by 6. Here, well, look at this actually. So remember when we were collecting like terms in algebra, we always keep the sign? Same thing, keep the sign. So we're dividing by -4, and so we divide by -4. So that one's can be a little tricky for some. So what are we actually going to get? So I know everything, the number beside the variable I can drop for all of these because that was my goal. So I can just do 6 divided by 3, 2. Here we can do -16 divided by 8 is -2. Well, 4 divided by 2 is 2 is less than x. 6 divided by 6 is 1. A negative divided by positive is a negative. And we're left with just x on the other side. So 10 divided by 4, well, that's 2.5, right? So what are we actually going to get? So, because 10 can go into 4 twice, and then 2 goes into 4 a half, so we get 2.5, and we get negative 2.5 is greater than x. So just those last 3, because of who I am, I like to switch them around because I know if I ever want to work with them, that's what I would be doing. And if you get in the habit of doing it like this, when you put under pressure, it'll just be second nature. So, and lastly, x less than